no one seems to be talking about this massive clue in the new Tears of the Kingdom trailer. I don't know if everyone missed it, or if I'm just not quite as in the loop as I don't know if everyone's missed it, or if I'm just not quite as in the loop as I think I am, but as far as I can tell, no one seems to be talking about this massive clue in the new Tears of the Kingdom trailer. Near the end, when we see the game logo appear, we hear a distinct voice in the background. A kind of distorted, synthetic sounding voice, almost kind of auto-tuned sounding. I think it's easy to miss because it kind of mixes in with the music and your attention is kind of on the logo and everything just seen before that visually. So maybe that's why people don't seem to have noticed it. Or you might be thinking, I noticed that, it's really obvious, and maybe everyone did notice it. Maybe it's so obvious that people just didn't feel the need to mention it. But either way, I just haven't really noticed anyone talking about it. I get a lot of videos pop up on my feed to do with Zelda, and I just haven't seen anything about this. So I thought it'd be worth mentioning. So this voice that I mentioned should sound familiar to long-time Zelda fans. Compare it with the voice of Fi from Skyward Sword, and you can't deny that it sounds extremely similar. This suggests that Tears of the Kingdom will be linked to Skyward Sword in some way, specifically through the character of Fi, the entity who resides within the Master Sword. Both trailers for the Tears of the Kingdom make it clear that part of the story will involve restoring the Master Sword to its full power, yet again. So perhaps Fi herself will be involved in this process, which of course would make sense. Of course, another glaring similarity with Skyward Sword is the Sky World itself. By the way, I'll slap a spoiler warning here for Skyward Sword if you're just playing through it for the first time now. At the end of Skyward Sword, Skyloft lowers down from the surface. Lowers down to the surface and becomes part of that lower world once again. I've heard a theory which suggests that Tears of the Kingdom is actually a prequel to Skyward Sword. But how can that be if Tears is the latest game in the timeline and Skyward Sword is the earliest game chronologically, as confirmed by Nintendo? Well, the theory goes that the timeline itself is one big endless loop. This ties in with Demise's curse at the end of Skyward Sword, in which he curses Link, Zelda and himself to be reborn again and again in an endless cycle. I don't know if Nintendo would actually do this, as it would technically mean that they can never make a game that's later in the timeline than Tears, but as I was scripting this video, I realised something that actually seems to fit with this theory. In the first trailer, and also we see it in the second trailer as well, we see Hyrule Castle being raised from the ground. And this kind of makes sense in a way, if you think about it. So perhaps it's not just the castle that's being raised from the ground. What if all the Sky Islands got there that way as well? What if Ganondorf's hordes of monsters are the very same ones that rose and choked Hyrule of its beauty and prosperity, starting a war with no end, and causing Hylia to lift a chunk of land high above the ground, thus Skyloft being born? Because in the trailer it seems like the castle is being held up by Malice, but what if it's not? What if it's being lifted into the air by Hylia, just like the other Sky Islands and Skyloft? And perhaps the Malice is actually holding it down, and that's why it's still relatively close to the ground. Are we going to see Skyloft being born in this game? This would explain the sudden appearance of the Sky Islands. If Hylia is raising portions of the land into the sky, then this could be how the new Sky Islands got there. This could also mean that we have chunks of land missing from the map in Tears' version of Hyrule. Could this be how we access the new underground sections of the game? By the way, what are you doing? Put those away, you silly sausage. If the concept of there being an underground portion of this game is new to you, then check out this video up here to see my thoughts on why the new trailer actually confirms that this will be a thing in Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this theory, or even if I think it's really feasible, but there are plenty of details that seem to fit it, so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. But there is another theory that I've heard of that I think has more credence, and I may be making a video about that soon as well. And if I do, it'll be linked in the end screen of this video. If not, sorry. That's all for now. What do you think about Fi's return and what this could mean for how Tears of the Kingdom connects with Skyward Sword? You know where to let me know. You stay classy, YouTube.